If you want to get wealthy, the most important thing you need to do is understand what wealthy people do. And why most people don't get wealthy is that they don't even understand the value chain of how wealth is created. Now in real estate, it is actually so simple, and yet none of us are ever taught it in our lives. There's a reason that 99% of the people on this planet will not create wealth. And that's because the top 1% are doing things differently. They're investing in different assets at different timing in the value chain, and therefore they're getting different results to what you and I have been getting in the past. This value chain is so important to understand, and I've had the privilege over many years of working with some of the wealthiest people around the world, and really it just took a bit of common sense to watch what they were doing. So in simple terms, the value chain of real estate, it starts with land zoning. So they take a green farm and they literally get land zoning, and that becomes brownfield if you want to get technical, and that allows them to ultimately go and do development. Generally, developers in the land zoning section are looking for internal rate of returns of higher than 30%, and it can take years to get a farm converted from a planning perspective. Then comes along a developer. So now they've got the planning and they do what's called the vertical infrastructure, and that's where they create real value by building a tangible asset. They're looking generally for about 25% plus minus internal rate of return globally. The third person in the chain is the investor. That investor comes along, they buy the asset off the developer, and they actually put a tenant into the property. So whether it's a house and they put a single family into the property and earn an income, or whether it's a shopping center and they fill it up with shops, it's the same principle. They provide an income for that property, and to use technical terms, they effectively season the rent. Now quite often the developer and the investor are actually the same party. But the number one way that people make money in real estate is that they then take that asset, once they've seasoned the rent, and they sell it on to a fund or a REIT. Because a fund or a REIT is incentivized to get and pool a lot of people's money and then to go and buy cash flow so that they can pay monthly or quarterly returns to their investors. And so they buy assets on cash flow. And that's why the developer and the investor create value, they then create cash flow, and then they sell it to a fund or a REIT with a great return. And then the fifth person in the value chain is you and I, who traditionally have invested directly in that fund or REIT. And so to give you a very quick metaphor, 5 or 6 years ago, if you wanted to catch a taxi, you probably phoned the call center. You spoke to a middleman. That middleman phoned the taxi driver. That taxi driver probably phoned a friend. They then came along to pick you up probably 2 hours later, and they took you from A to B. And everyone thought to themselves, well, why don't they just go directly to the driver? Well, when it comes to real estate, I ask you the question, why don't you go directly to doing what the top 1% are doing? Investing at the investor stage, investing at the development stage. And the general answer is, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the knowledge, and most importantly, I don't even get access to the good opportunities. While with technology, Migrate has cut out the middleman and puts you directly in access. You can now, our growth products are directly partnering with developers in the development stage, and our income products are directly partnering with investors at the investment stage. You'll create wealth if you learn about the value chain, but most importantly, if you get clear at what stage of the value chain you invest. Why not try it and learn while doing it?